So you're a big basketball fan then?
Big fan.
Oh, it's weird because we don't get all that kind of stuff over here, like ice hockey and basketball and things.
Yeah, but look how passionate you are about cricket.
Well, not me personally. I can't stand it.
But somewhere it's in your genes.
No, cricket's all
I come from a generation of cricket haters.
You at least know how to play or what the game's about.
So everyone over here likes to football. It's like, I hate it. I don't understand it at all. My dad used to play semi-professional and he was like, it was always on television when I wanted to watch something else on the other side.
Right.
I'm not really into sports at all, apart from things that involve horses. That's fun. I've got to start talking about you.
This is fine.
What kind of state of mind were you in after you finished the Gish tour?
What kind of what?
State of mind were you in when you finished the Gish
A
tour?
really horrible.
Frazzled.
What was that down to?
I think the band is just not falling apart. So, had all this pressure to come up with, the Pumpkins' Nevermind. And I don't like to think about it.
Was it time after that you said that you found it really difficult to write songs? What sort of sparked you off into writing again?
Fear. Absolute fear of failure. I kind of got back to why I wrote songs in the first place, which was kind of solace and escape. It's therapeutic in a cool kind of way.
Had you lost sight of why you wrote songs? Had you lost sight of why you wrote songs? So?
Well, I felt like I was writing songs because I was supposed to and not because I wanted to.
Mm-hmm. Were you under a lot of pressure to come up with the next album to come up with the goods for it? Or was that part of the reason that you felt you could write it?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you're supposed to do something, I think the rebellious nature in you automatically doesn't want to do it.
Yeah, I can totally understand that one. So when did you start recording this? The Silent Scream?
I mean, Gish too. December.
Then is that how long did it take me?
4 months.
Is that how long it was meant to take, or did it?
No, it's supposed to take 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
And then it took a month to mix, so it was 5 months total.
Mm-hmm. How did you get the ideas for the songs on this album?
Just kind of looked around.
What about, which round it was?
Stayed up to
Are you alright?
Anything in particular?
The clouds.
Trees.
I was with this traveling circus. I just kind of, to be really straightforward about it, I sat down and said, if I could write songs, this is how I trick my mind into doing things. If I could write songs about whatever I wanted to write songs about, what would I write them about? And so I made a list. And then kind of connected some songs that I had been writing to ideas on the list. And kind of thought, well, then I should write songs about this.
Mm-hmm.
I've always worked, kind of wrote the music first and then put the idea and the words later. Sometimes the music kind of seems to dictate the idea of what the song's about. But nowadays I'm trying to do the opposite. I'm trying to write the words first and or have the idea and then try to make music that fits it. Kind of like working that way now.
Why do you want to do it every round?
It's because it's different.
Do you have to keep changing the way you do it to keep yourself interested?
Yeah. Because I think if you do things the same, you will pretty much guarantee similar results.
Yeah. What about today? What's that song about?
Suicide?
Where was that coming from?
suicidal tendencies.
You still have suicidal tendencies?
Not at the moment, no.
What about Spaceball? What was that one about?
That's about my little brother. He's an interesting character. It's kind of about how he's different, but we're kind of the same.
And what was like different and then the same?
Well, he has a physical handicap. It's hard to explain his exact condition. He has a rare chromosomal disorder that gives him a somewhat different genetic makeup. He has different physical and mental problems, and yet somehow, I mean, by all accounts, I'm physically and mentally okay, but somehow I feel that our lives would become similar.
Similar in what ways?
Freaks of nature, freaks of society. I've always felt that, like, I mean, I always go back to this thing I read about Henry Miller, or something by Henry Miller, where he said that no matter how much he smiled, told jokes, shook hands, patted people on the back, they still looked at him funny. They still sensed something wasn't right. And I've always kind of felt that way, that no matter how normal I acted, I was still treated differently and perceived differently. So I kind of feel like I've always gotten this kind of subliminal message that there's something wrong with me.
Do you think that's maybe sort of some kind of inside paranoia or?
I don't think the reasons for it are really as important as the results.
Do people ever say to you that you're different or?
Oh yeah. I mean, people called me names before I even knew what they meant.
Like what?
Arrogant, conceited, egomaniac. What's the other word?
What about disarm? What's that about?
Chopping off somebody's arms.
About disarming that arm.
But how do the songs actually evolve once you've written them and you take them into the studio? How does everyone else get involved?
It becomes a battle to not get on each other's nerves. It's kind of hard to explain our creative process. Some things are implied, some things are talked about. It's really hard to explain the collective intelligence of a band that's been together for over 5 years.
How do you find working with Billy?
I think we work really well together. We come from really similar backgrounds musically, so the way we hear things is very similar.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we'll usually hear something the same way unless he's hearing it totally different from the beginning. You know, I mean, for the most part, we hear songs the same way, so it's very easy. I think it's a very complimentary. We're very complimentary of each other in our playing. I look at the band as more of like a drums, guitar, vocal than I do like a regular drummer would perceive a band, like drums and bass. I really try to avoid playing that way and try and play more along with like the vocal line and whatever Billy's doing on the guitar. So we have, it's just, it really creates a difference in our sound that you don't hear in other people's like rhythm sections. You know, pushing and pulling vocals and pulling back choruses and stuff like that. So, I mean, I enjoy playing with Billy, more than any other guitar player that I've ever worked with. It's because he hears things on a very rhythmic level.
Mm-hmm. The Smashing Pumpkins really sound, I mean, on a Smashing Pumpkins record, it doesn't sound like anyone else. You've got a real sort of, this is Smashing Pumpkins, it doesn't sound like anyone else. Where do you think that comes from?
Well, I think it's kind of the way I hear things. kind of a conscious avoidance of. I know enough about how other people make records and how other people sound that I go to great lengths to avoid sounding like other bands.
So it's a conscious thing too.
It's a combination of things. One thing led to another. The natural sound that I heard in my head made me think, well, how come my record doesn't sound like so-and-so's? And when I listened to somebody else's record, I thought, oh, I see, well, maybe I should go even further. So, I don't know, it's hard to explain, chicken or the egg. I think the sound was there to begin with. Even if you heard demos of the very first band I was in before I knew anything about music or anything, there's a similarity in terms of the sound we approached.
How would you describe your sound?
Fingernails scraping out a blackboard.
Oh.
Intimate.
Yeah.
Even when it's loud, there's an intimacy.
Did you know?
I describe our music more in emotional terms than I do like a physical.
How emotional is it? It seems to be really intense in parts and then sort of mellow and really fast in others.
But it's all within honesty. It's all, I don't know, it sounds stupid to say.
Did you enjoy making this album?
No.
Not at all. Why not?
Because we're hard. Jimmy and I have said this before, there's a difference between enjoyment and satisfaction. I think we're really satisfied with the album. I think we're proud of the album. I don't think we necessarily had fun.
Yeah, the fact it was so difficult brought out the best in you, so to speak. I think you perceived it as being more difficult.
I really wonder sometimes whether the adversity makes things better or worse. I can't really say because every time we work, it's under adversity.
Worse.
Have you ever remembered a time that we recorded anything seriously that was fun?
Starla.
But that wasn't really serious.
Right.
Those were demos that turned into B-sides.
Yeah, I mean, the album really brought out the extremes in everybody's personalities.
See, we're always very extreme. We think, well, if you're going to work hard, then really work hard and make it perfect. Or just go in, don't think about it, and just have fun and do it. So we've done that. We've done like Plume and Starla, which were like the Iron One B-sides. Those were done really quickly, and it was great because that's what it is. But I think if we had to pick and choose, we would always go with this kind of more idealistic representation, because the way I see it is like the albums that we put out, the stuff we put out is going to last as long as we live. And if I'm going to have a legacy or a body of work, I want to always be proud of it. I never want to think, man, I was so short-sighted and lazy that I didn't do it justice. And I always think that if you expect someone to listen to it, then you should be willing to go to great lengths. If you expect someone to sit their ass down and listen to your album for 65 minutes, then you better be willing to work really hard to make it the best that it can be.
I think you can keep going on making records if you don't enjoy the actual process.
I think we can learn how to enjoy it.
One of the biggest frustrations is lacking the talent to do it quickly and effectively. I mean, Jimmy's a great drummer, but he can't always walk in and do it in one take. I can't walk in and do every vocal in one take. If we could, we'd probably feel a lot better about it.
Yeah.
It's not that we can't play, but we can't necessarily play at the level of proficiency that's necessary to make a really good sounding record.
Do you think that's being too hard on yourself doing that? You think?
I think that's necessary. It's necessary to be too hard on yourself.
We've always, it's kind of sick, but we always it's like putting a carrot in front of a horse. No matter what we've accomplished, we always try to go further, and that's always been, I really think, the key to the band. we were really a misdirected, shitty kind of band for a long time. And when we finally got a gauge on who we were and what we were, we got better, and I think we've always gotten better. I don't think we've ever regressed.
So when did it actually come together? When did you feel it came together?
I'd say the first time I really felt there was a definition was around Gish. I think there were aspects of it before, but I think Gish was really, when we recorded Gish, I mean, it was, at that time, it was way beyond the band. I mean, we tried, after we recorded Gish and then went to practice it, it was like, we were looking at each other like, we can't even play our own album. And sooner or later, the band caught up and then surpassed what Gish was. It's kind of hard to explain all that, but it's not that we couldn't play the songs at all, but I don't think we could, like, translate the songs.
What do you think the differences are between Gish and Simon's Dream?
I'll let Jimmy answer that. You might be more interesting answer.
I definitely think the parameters are stretched a lot more, and I think it's a lot more indicative of at least mine and Billy's personalities. It's a very extreme record. Like I'm a very self-destructive person. When I self-destruct, I totally self-destruct. And Billy's a very like mentally active person. When he's very mentally active, he's really mentally active. And when I look at Gish, it's kind of like a more searching record. And when I hear Siamese Dream, it's almost like a revelation. Like, wow, here we are, looking right back at me because all the shit, we went through making the record is very apparent to me emotionally and even physically when I listen to it. So I think it's a more natural representation of the band reaching its apex of whatever the band is.
Mm-hmm.
On Gish, we were fishing.
Yeah.
And on Siamese Dream, we were water skiing.
Yeah. What's your favorite songs on the album?
All of them.
Yeah, I like all the songs. I go from song to song.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of my friends say every time I listen to it, I get a new favorite song.
Yeah, I kind of feel that way as well. 1 minute is when you put it on, every time you put it on, it's a different song that you like then.
It's like if I was objective, I'd say Disarm is probably the most amazing thing on the album because it sounds so different and it's so brutally honest or something. It's like scary almost to me to listen to.
It really moves in the direction of the band without like using the tools that we regularly use.
Yeah.
It achieves the same thing with different canvas, which is really nice to hear. Plus, there's not a lot of drums in it, so I don't sit there and make sweat when I listen to it.
But other times I really like, I have the sentimental attachment to things. Sometimes it's really hard to disconnect what the song is about and what it means to me, and like what it would mean to someone who hasn't gone through those things.
Yeah, there's a lot of...
Like a song like Luna, which is the last song of the album, is really close to my heart. Very few people ever come up to me and go, I love that song, Luna.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, it's a great song, and for maybe different reasons than it's got a great melody or tangible.
Did you approach recording like Simon's Dream differently to Gish?
Gish, we recorded like all the drums and all the bass and all the guitars because it's very time effective. And this one we would do like 2 songs at a time and get them as close to done as we could and go on to the next step. So it constantly forced us to reevaluate what we were doing.
We weren't stuck with certain arrangements. We could change shit if we wanted to. And a lot of stuff did get changed in the recording process.
There was stuff like, it was like, okay, we're recording the song today, and we were like scrambling at the last second to figure out the arrangement. It's total insanity. But the approach was a little more snail-paced. But it was good because it gave us the time to make mistakes and then fix them.
Mm-hmm.
Gish, it was like, okay,
here's the drum part.
Good enough.
Make the bass.
I mean, I guess he was done after the first 4 or 5 days. And he basically just drank and hung out to oblivion the rest of the time.
Got in a lot of fights.
Got his nose broken.
Oh no, did that happen?
Just defending a lady's honor.
That's all you need to know.
How long did you straight to do?
If you totaled it all up, I think it was 40-something days. But it was stretched out. We worked in pieces.
You spent a lot more time on Simon's Dream.
Well, I think it was 93 days. 12-hour days.
Do you think it really benefited from having more time spent on it?
That's like a two-sided argument. But sometimes you can think something to nothingness.
Yeah.
Where it's just a flash of inspiration, an accident.
Yeah.
It's like I was saying, if you just put the band in a room and let the band play live, you'd get something about it that would be great that you wouldn't get if you spent a month on it. There's something you can't quite put your finger on. It's like there's a song on the Cherub Rock, a single, Pissant, which we recorded live. We listened to it, it just fucking rocks, but you can't really say why. But it has something about it that's so intense because it is kind of live like that.
Yeah, just smokes. It's a sweater.
Why did you work with Rich Vic on this album?
Because he's a nice bloke.
He's almost, when we work with him in the studio, he almost becomes like a member of the band.
He's the fifth Beatle.
He's like the...
We really, seriously, we know him so well.
Everyone's tip on this album is going to be like really huge. It's going to be the American rock album of this year. How does that make you feel?
I'm scared.
Why?
Because I don't trust journalists. First of all, everyone's always trying to pick the album of the year. And how many times does somebody come out of nowhere and surprise the fuck out of everyone?
Yeah.
We won College Music Journal Album of the Year, not album of the year, but debut album of the year in 1991 with Gish, and most people didn't know who the fuck we were. And no one predicted that we were going to make this great album. It was like a surprise. So that kind of talk scares me. It really does. I'll feel better when the albums come out and the reviews come in. Not that that's like the all-important thing, but it's just like, you ever see Charlie Brown, the Great Pumpkin cartoon? Well, the basic story is like the Great Pumpkin is supposed to come on Halloween and make everybody's... Yeah, he's supposed to come to the pumpkin patch and make everybody's Halloween great or something like that. So all the kids go out in the field and the Great Pumpkin never comes and everybody's really disappointed. Sometimes I feel it's like, we're going to be like the Great Pumpkin that never arrives.
What do you think it would do for the band if the album is huge and massive?
It'll ensure that we probably make another record.
Yeah, it'll be financially viable to do so.
Yeah.
I think if the record bombs, we'll probably break up.
Yeah, the record bombs the band's history.
Well, what will you do then if the band splits up?
Go back to work at the hot dog stand. No.
Me, I'm going to buy a bunch of synthesizers.
Start making techno music.
I'm going to sell out in the most financially viable way.
Jimmy will be playing with Guns N' Roses.
If the album does go massive, do you think you'll scope the pressures down?
I don't even know what those pressures are.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
Like, we toured with Pearl Jam, and, we hung out a lot with Eddie Vedder, and, we all consider him our friend, But when's the last time you talked to him? You can't even get him on the phone.
He actually
can't-
called me.
Anyway, how's he doing? But I'm just saying, I tried to call him a couple times. It was like impossible to reach him, and he's obviously like really freaked out by everything that's happened. And you can't understand what that's like until it happens. So it'd be easy for us to sit here.
Say we're going to maintain our heads and be cool. Nothing's going to change. But
I'll tell you, I mean, we had enough internal ego problems with the band, with Gish.
Right.
So I hate to see like people's bad ego problems validated with a big album.
It's going to be interesting, to say the least. But I mean, hope you're not.
I'd rather figure that problem out than why do we fail.
Yeah.
Right.
What about the spaces if you're having to do like, massive tours with like last year or something? Do you think you would cope with that?
We've done that.
Yeah, touring is the easy part. I mean, it's the 1 hour in the day where you're actually doing exactly what you want to do. So that's, touring is easy. It's all the byproducts of success that I think really make bands split apart and go crazy. It's never attributed to the music unless it's creative differences. As long as you're playing, you're fine.
I mean, it seems the more successful we are, the less we play.
Right.
We play less music now than we ever have.
I think that is.
Because we're so busy.
Yeah.
We're so busy doing all the peripheral stuff that's necessary to sell records, which is do interviews, do photo shoots,
Make videos.
Does that annoy you developing more of the relationship that went along with it?
Well, yeah, but
It becomes a nice change, but
if you don't, then you're ensuring that no one's going to hear your album.
Yeah. What plans have you got after the album's released? Do you think touring?
Tour. We're already booked through like Christmas.
You doing any festivals this year?
Yeah, I don't know which one.
we're doing Bugle Pop and some big festival in Oslo.
We'll be in Europe from August through September. But we're definitely not playing Reading again.
I haven't missed you in actually. I was sitting backstage trying to interview Henry Rollins, which never happened. I don't want to hear you come backstage. I never actually thought about it.
Oh, good. That's good.
We're
You didn't see the tears though.
We're sorry.
Is that still Sting rating then?
Yeah. But sometimes a good failure is as good as a success. I mean, our career, like say in England, might be that much further along if we'd played well.
Yeah.
But it turned us into a bunch of bumblebees, and we're now looking for the pollen.
We're looking for somebody else to sting.
I mean, no.
Actually, we're looking for someone to remove our English curse.
Why don't you get an English curse?
It just seems like, I mean, America is not completely devoid of this, but in here, shallowness and phoniness is exacerbated.
Like who's shallowness and phoniness?
Well, most bands that are really, really successful in England are basically, it's not to say they lack musical talent, but the things that are emphasized are their looks, their shallowness, their ability to say good quotes, their ambiguous bisexuality.
That's probably more down to the press though than the actual bands themselves.
Well, again, chicken or the egg.
Yeah.
Give the people what they want.
Yeah.